Alright, so when you come back after a little break from your work, you might want to consider the position of things in relationship to each other again. And one of the first things I'm noticing is the height of the ear in relation to the shadow on the eye here. And I think the ear can afford to drop a little bit. So I'm going to do that first. And I've set the alarm now for it's 8 minutes, so it's just a short little stint. Maybe just for you to have a little break from your own work and regroup when you go back to it. Anyway, okay. And if you think there's something really helpful that I could indicate here, you can do, let me know. Okay. So I'm lifting out, using a bit of the warm colour that's in here, which will be cadmium red mixed with lemon yellow. And I'm lifting out with that colour already on the brush, so that the lifting out is happening at the same time as the ear being painted in. And I'm just judging where the top of the ear is sitting in relationship to, across the face there. Okay. Yeah, a little dry and everything, so just let it alone. And now I want to make the skin around it a little bit darker, so I'm putting some Viridian green into that colour. I want to make this read as hair more, and when I have closed my eyes, it does look as though the ear is a brighter shape than the hair around it. So that's why I'm choosing to deepen and dark and cool down the tones and the colours in the head. And when you stand back, you can decide where the darkest part is. The darkest part to me reads as being out here, so I don't want this to look as though it's very dark. So I'm just wetting the brush and letting that, actually picking up some of the paint, as I notice that there's a little bit of stubble kind of coming down here too. And so losing that clear dark that was in front of the ear and just allowing it to merge with this to create something of the shadow that's in the hair of the beard. Okay, and above it then is a warm skin colour again. But it's still on the shadow side, so I'm quite happy to leave the dirty palette be part of making that colour. And because it's on the shadow side, I'm cooling it down. I wanted it to be a bit cooler, so I put a bit of Viridian green into it, so now it looks like that. And what I'm wanting to achieve is the shadow coming up to meet the light on the cheek. And so I'm whiting it, because you see how it's a bit hairy. I don't want it to be dry like that. I'm aiming for a colour that's cohesive and that's going to fill the shape. Pushing it up and letting it paint itself back down then. So that the water has been given an opportunity to play a part as well, it's also painting it for you. And then I could bring some of that dark reddish colour in to the skin around here too. And I can pull it up or push it up. Because you don't want everything always pulling down. So pushing the pigment up and lifting the brush is a way of allowing it to have an upward kind of feel. And you could also turn it on its head.
So it'll stay up there, will it?
Sometimes it stays up. If it doesn't and it's annoying you, you can just do that.
Turn it up, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't really stay up fully, but it'll if you kind of push it, if you push and lift,
Yeah. And take it off at the top.
Take it off at the top. I think then it's probably going to be a bit darker at the top than at the bottom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And then in here. Now, I could carry on like this, deciding what to do next myself, or you can suggest something that you particularly would like to see painted. At this stage, would it be handy to have an eye? Yeah. Okay. So what about it's calling to be painted, really, isn't it? That eye. Okay. So there's a few things yesterday, wasn't there? No, there's 4 minutes. I'm not talking loudly. I'm not remembering to do that. No, I'm afraid it mightn't be very clear. Okay. Alright, so the first thing I noticed with the eye there was that it's nice and warm. Let's see. First I want to make the shadow within which the eye will sit. So I want to make that kind of, the shadow that I'm seeing over here there's already something of it explained, but I want to find it in with more clarity. The shadow of the socket of the eye above the cheekbone there. And so I think it'll be here. So I'm looking at it, the point of intersection, the corner of the shadow in relation to the bridge of the nose to locate, and that will allow me to locate then the slope of the eyelid. And I'm going to also re-establish the dark that's in here. So I'm getting the corner that's up here, the shadow up here, and my destination shadow, kind of, so that you can capture then the direction of the lid in between. And as soon as I put those two in, you can see that that colour also features elsewhere. And it's kind of, there's something quite pleasing about doing that thing of allowing it to keep alive everywhere, keep it all alive. Like Suzanne said, my painting holds hands and comes up together. So if you can keep tipping away at all of it, that's great, because it allows this to drive it as well, and it kind of takes the heat off. Okay, how are you doing there, Helen? Okay. Okay, so yes, the eye. So the next thing then that I would see as being clear enough from here is the direction of the lid of the eye, where the iris meets the light. So the dark of the iris is meeting the light of the warm light of the lid. And I want to capture that point of the edge of that, the edge of the top of the iris and the lid. So that's all I'm looking for here now. And see when you're only looking for one edge, it no longer feels like a threatening eye.
Yeah.
It's just one direction, and the direction is so important. When you capture the direction, everything else will kind of make sense, I think. So it's order. Our work here is pulling order out of chaos. Or, you know, I think that's often, because often it does feel like chaos. You're fumbling around trying to find it. And in the finding it, there's beauty. So it's okay about that finding. Although it often doesn't feel okay. It is alright, really. Okay. So I'm mixing some ultramarine blue, which looks like that, and the burnt sienna, which is the warm brown, to make a colour that's a bit darker than other colours around there, so that when I do find the direction of that line, I can establish it fairly clearly, printing the edge like that, knowing that it's easy enough to lift it off, because it's only one application. It's not like you're again and again drawing it. It's simply being printed on. Okay, so there's not huge pressure really. Okay. And now I'm looking closely to establish where the line, in the same way as I wanted to find the line of the shoulder by seeing where it would run through the face, I want to find the line of the eye by seeing where it would run through the rest of the face. So I think it's maybe about there. Because it sits back well from the shape of the shadow here. The shadow is kind of like a soft triangle. It's a soft top triangle, that shadow. And then this line is extending out from it. Might even shift up a little bit higher. And I do that by pulling it up. So as soon as you've got one line in there, you can adjust it. You can adjust it up the way. Okay. So the same way as I didn't want to stop this morning, I also don't want to stop now, but it's an easel that's free, so if you want to go back you can. If you want to see the eye happening, I'm going to do it for another 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Okay. And 4 minutes actually, 4. That was destiny there, I only went to 4. Okay, so remember yesterday how as soon as you put something dark in the iris, it's helpful then to re-establish the dark in the eyebrow. That takes you out again, and it creates again the framework within which the eye is going to sit. And as I did earlier with the brown in the eye, that's quite a dramatic dark. It might also feature here in the 2 directions of the nostril, and maybe a little bit in the corner here where the nose meets the skin. And I'm re-looking each time I put in the next shade, the next tone up, looking again and making more clear the positioning of things. And even finding something with the same tone but a bit more warmth in it to describe, say, parts of the mouth. Okay. Just use that a bit again. Alright, and then back up here with that nice warm colour. I can see it happening in here, that warm colour as well, a little bit. Okay, now, back down to the iris. And there's the inner corner of the eye, which to me sits, I'm relating to where the inner corner of the eye is in relation to the line here, the dark of the shadow. And it looks to me like I can see a little triangle of warmth in the inner corner of the eye. That's about there. It's quite high up, it's almost as high as the top of the eyelid, the top line of the eyelid. Yeah, it's almost as high as that. Okay. Yeah, so I kind of knocked off the edge of that because I don't want it to be sticking up when it's an undulating in the way eye. Okay. And there's an opening for it, so it's like the iris is occupying a triangular shape almost. The smallest of the three brushes is handy here to describe the iris. I'm going to make a colour that's different from the skin around it with the viridian green and the ultramarine blue. So that's this colour. Make it a little bit darker. And I'm looking at explaining the shape of the iris, which is up and down and curved at the bottom. And it's narrower than it is high, I think. And it's almost touching the inner corner of the eye. It actually kind of widens up as it goes in the way. It widens up, this side is wider than this side. And I'm going to allow it to extend down, so once you've put on a little bit of it, don't feel like you have to make a big shape here. Once you put on a little bit and it's got a lot of pigment in it, I'm just going to move the shape so that it reads as the curved underside of the eye. I need a bit more pigment because I'm lifting it off. As the curved underside, so it's kind of coming down before it goes up. And then of course there's the lovely light that's on the upper surface of the lower lid. I'm doing this because I want to capture the light that's on the eyelid as it extends into the shadow there. There's something of a kind of a light I think it's already kind of there though. And the thing that's maybe not quite already there is the shadow that runs here. That might be a helpful shadow that runs almost parallel to the eyelid. Okay, and then I needed that minute. Okay. And then there's the shadow that runs up to the underside of the lower lid. So to capture the upper surface of the lower lid, the light that's on the upper surface of the lower lid, we can push the warm skin tone up to meet the light, the warm dark shadow colour, up and in here too, and actually maybe even here. And out there as well with a bigger brush, then like you could pick up the same colour, and out there you can use the same colour maybe. You know, you'll find other places where it'll need to extend out the way. Once you do darks in the eye, it gives you a license to bring up the tones elsewhere too. Yeah. And then the very dark can be re-established again in the upper lid. I hope you're not feeling obliged to stay looking at this now. Okay, so I'm just going to make a very dark colour to represent again the dark of the upper lid. The lashes there. And like yesterday, you could find the dark of the pupil hanging down almost from that, which is probably not really that visible, but we know it's there, and we know that it's kind of maybe helpful for there to be an overhanging shadow. And as soon as that goes in, it's quite dark, it's darker than any part of the rest of the face, and I want there to be another step up, so I'm going to darken again the shadow around here. Maybe there. Okay. and out here. And of course there'll be something of the other eye happening with the same tones as well. And there's one final thing that I want to do here, because that light isn't helpful there, I don't think. There's a ledge of light under the iris that's on the upper surface of the lower lid. But I think we want this to read as though it's going in the way. It's curving in. Yeah, so I think that's alright. Okay, and then a bigger brush just to integrate the socket again with the... So there's a feeling of it going down that way, the shadow, under the eye. And it's really good fun finding things, you know, excavating your way, uncovering and studying, being curious as to how does that fit in now to that shape, and seeing in terms of shadow and colour combinations. So you can differentiate parts of the eye through using colour as well as tone. But once you've established the tone and you know where you're going, then you can make the white of the eye maybe a tiny bit cerulean blue. You could make the lid a little bit orange. So you've got that lovely push and pull. Helen has it in spades in her painting. She's got that push and pull with the light, the opposites, the reds and greens and blues and oranges, you know. Okay, so thanks for that. And Pete, do you want to have a little break now?
Yes.
Yeah, and then if it's okay, then up to 1 o'clock.
Yep.
Is that alright? It's 25 to 1 now, so the short break, and then that'll be fantastic. Thank you.
Okay.